The power of intentional communication, transforming leadership through connection. Welcome to a transformative journey into the heart of effective communication. Today we're exploring groundbreaking insights from Shonte Youmans, a visionary leader who's revolutionizing how we think about communication, especially for women in leadership. Shonte's work isn't just changing conversations, it's changing lives, empowering leaders, and reshaping the very fabric of organizational culture. Her approach to intentional communication is nothing short of revolutionary, offering a beacon of hope in a world often divided by misunderstanding. Imagine for a moment that everything you thought you knew about communication was turned on its head. What if the key to powerful communication isn't about speaking more, but about connecting more deeply? This isn't just a feel-good idea. It's a paradigm shift backed by research and real-world results that has the potential to transform not just our professional lives, but our entire society. For far too long, we've been operating under a flawed assumption. We've believed that good communication is simply about speaking well, articulating our thoughts clearly and confidently. It's an idea so deeply ingrained in our professional culture that it's almost become gospel. But here's the shocking truth. This belief isn't just outdated. It's actively holding us back, especially women in leadership positions. Now, I can almost hear the skeptics among you. But wait, you might be thinking, isn't clear, articulate speech the cornerstone of effective communication? Well, yes and no. Clear speech is important, but it's just one piece of a much larger, more complex puzzle. And it's time we start seeing the whole picture. The truth is, powerful communication is about so much more than just talking. It's about active listening, emotional intelligence, nonverbal cues, clarity, confidence, and the ability to adapt your message based on your audience. It's not just about transmitting information. It's about creating connection, fostering trust, and catalyzing transformation. This revelation hit me like a bolt of lightning during my conversation with Shonte Youmans. Shonte has spent years working with women in leadership, and she's observed a pattern that's both troubling and illuminating. Many of these brilliant, capable women struggle not because they don't talk enough, but because they haven't been taught how to communicate with intention and impact. Let's break this down. When we focus solely on speaking well, we're missing out on the most crucial aspect of communication, connection. Think about the last time you were truly moved by a speaker. Was it just their words that affected you? Or was it something more? Chances are it was their ability to connect with you on an emotional level, to make you feel understood, valued, and inspired. This is where the real power lies. It's not about perfecting your pitch or memorizing a script. It's about cultivating the ability to truly connect with your audience, whether that's a boardroom full of executives or a one-on-one conversation with a team member. It's about creating a shared experience, a moment of genuine understanding that transcends mere words. But here's the uncomfortable truth. This kind of communication doesn't just happen naturally. It's a skill that needs to be developed, honed, and practiced intentionally. And that's where many of us, especially women in leadership roles, have been profoundly let down by traditional communication training. Shonte shared a story with me that perfectly illustrates this point, and I want you to really listen to this because it might just change the way you think about communication forever. She worked with a CEO of a mid-sized tech company. Let's call her Sarah. Sarah was brilliant, innovative, and had a clear vision for her company. She had all the qualities you'd expect in a successful leader. But she struggled, really struggled, to get buy-in from her board and her team. She'd been told time and time again that she needed to be more assertive, to speak up more in meetings. So she did. She practiced her presentations until she could recite them in her sleep. She spoke up more often, forcing herself to contribute even when she felt she had nothing new to add. She even invested in an expensive public speaking course. But nothing changed. In fact, things got worse. Her team felt steamrolled, overwhelmed by her constant input. Her board thought she was being aggressive rather than assertive. Sarah was frustrated, confused, and on the verge of giving up. She was doing everything she'd been told to do, following all the conventional wisdom about effective communication, but it wasn't working. She felt like a failure, and her confidence was crumbling. That's when Shonte introduced her to the revolutionary concept of intentional communication. Instead of focusing on speaking more, Sarah learned to listen more intently. She practiced reading the room, picking up on nonverbal cues, understanding the emotional undercurrents of conversations. She learned to tailor her message, not just to what she wanted to say, but to what her audience needed to hear. The results were nothing short of transformative. Within months, Sarah's relationships with her board and her team had improved dramatically. Her ideas were being heard, understood, and implemented. Her company's performance soared, and here's the kicker. She was actually speaking less in meetings, but her impact was far greater. She had learned the art of intentional communication, and it changed everything. This story isn't unique. Shonte has seen this pattern play out time and time again. Women in leadership positions are often told to speak up more, to be more assertive, to dominate conversations. But this advice not only misses the mark, it actively harms their ability to lead effectively. It's not about the quantity of our words, but the quality of our connections. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. This all sounds great, but where's the evidence? Where's the data? Well, I'm glad you asked, because this isn't just feel-good fluff. It's backed by solid research that should make us all sit up and take notice. A groundbreaking study published in the Harvard Business Review found that the most effective leaders are those who excel at both talking and listening. They don't just communicate information, they create space for dialogue and understanding. They're not just broadcasters, they're facilitators of meaningful conversation. Another study from the Journal of Applied Psychology showed that leaders who practice empathetic listening, truly trying to understand their team members' perspectives, have more engaged and productive teams. These leaders don't just hear words. They understand emotions, motivations, and unspoken concerns. But perhaps the most compelling evidence comes from the cutting-edge field of neuroscience. Research has shown that when we feel a genuine connection with someone, our brains release oxytocin, often called the trust hormone. This chemical reaction makes us more open to new ideas, more willing to collaborate, and more likely to remember and act on what we've heard. In other words, connection isn't just nice to have. It's a neurological necessity for effective communication and leadership. When we focus on creating genuine connections, we're not just making people feel good. We're literally changing their brain chemistry in ways that enhance understanding, trust, and collaboration. So what does this mean for you? Whether you're a CEO, a team leader, or an aspiring professional, it's time to radically rethink your approach to communication. It's time to shift your focus from simply speaking well to communicating with intention and impact. This doesn't mean abandoning the basics of good public speaking. Clear articulation, strong body language, and well-structured arguments are still important, but they're not enough on their own. To truly communicate effectively in today's complex, interconnected world, you need to cultivate skills that go beyond the surface level of speech. First and foremost, you need to develop your listening skills, not just hearing, but truly listening. This means giving your full attention to the person speaking, trying to understand not just their words, but their underlying emotions and motivations. It means asking thoughtful questions and showing genuine curiosity about others' perspectives. It means being willing to be changed by what you hear, not just waiting for your turn to speak. Secondly, you need to hone your emotional intelligence. This involves being aware of your own emotions and how they affect your communication, as well as being able to read and respond to the emotions of others. It's about creating an emotional connection that goes beyond mere words, tapping into the unspoken currents that often drive decision-making and behavior. Third, you need to learn to adapt your communication style to your audience. This doesn't mean being inauthentic or changing who you are at your core. It means understanding that different people have different communication preferences and needs and being flexible enough to meet them where they are. It's about speaking their language, not expecting them to speak yours. And finally, you need to practice communicating with intention. This means being crystal clear about your purpose in every interaction. Are you trying to inform, to persuade, to inspire, to collaborate? Your intention should shape every aspect of your communication, from the words you choose to the tone you use, from your body language to the questions you ask. Now, I can almost hear some of you thinking, this all sounds great, but it also sounds like a lot of work. Is it really worth it? And to that, I say absolutely, unequivocally, yes. The benefits of intentional, connection-focused communication are profound and far-reaching, touching every aspect of our personal and professional lives. For individuals, it can lead to greater influence, more satisfying relationships, and accelerated career progression. You'll find yourself having more meaningful conversations, building stronger networks, and achieving your goals more easily. For leaders, it can result in more engaged teams, better decision-making, and improved organizational performance. You'll create a culture of trust and openness where innovation thrives and problems get solved more quickly. And for organizations as a whole, it can foster a culture of trust, innovation, and collaboration that drives long-term success. Companies that prioritize intentional communication see higher employee satisfaction, lower turnover, and better bottom line results. But perhaps most importantly, this approach to communication has the power to create positive change on a broader scale. In a world that often feels divided and disconnected, imagine the impact we could have if more leaders, especially women leaders, were skilled at creating genuine connections and fostering understanding. We could bridge divides, solve complex problems, and create a more empathetic, collaborative society. So I want to challenge you. I want you to commit right here and now to transforming the way you communicate. Over the next week, I want you to approach every conversation with intention. Before you speak, ask yourself, what's my purpose here? How can I create a genuine connection? How can I ensure that I'm not just talking, but truly communicating? Pay close attention to how this shift in focus affects your interactions. Notice how people respond to you differently. Observe how it changes the dynamics in your meetings, your one-on-ones, your presentations. You might be surprised at how quickly you start seeing results. And remember, this isn't about perfection. It's about progress. It's about gradually shifting your focus from simply speaking well to communicating with intention and impact. It's about recognizing that true power in communication comes not from dominating the conversation, but from creating meaningful connections that inspire action and drive change. As Shonte Youmans so powerfully demonstrated, when we shift our focus from speaking to connecting, we unlock a new level of communication that has the power to transform not just our careers, but our relationships, our organizations, and potentially our world. So let's move beyond the outdated notion that good communication is just about speaking well. Let's embrace a new paradigm of intentional, connection-focused communication. Because when we do, we don't just change how we talk. We change how we lead, how we innovate, and how we create positive change in the world. I want you to imagine a world where every leader, every team member, every individual has mastered the art of intentional communication. A world where misunderstandings are rare, where collaboration is the norm, where innovative ideas flow freely because people feel truly heard and valued. This isn't just a pipe dream, it's a possible future, and it starts with you. So here's my call to action for you. Commit to becoming a master of intentional communication. Start today. In your very next conversation, focus on creating a genuine connection. Listen more than you speak. Seek to understand before being understood. Be intentional about your words, your tone, your body language, and don't stop there. Share these ideas with others. Challenge the outdated notions of communication in your workplace. Be the catalyst for change in your organization. Because when we change how we communicate, we change everything. Remember, every conversation is an opportunity, not just to speak, but to connect, to understand, and to make a real impact. So go forth, communicate with intention, and watch as your words begin to create ripples of positive change that spread far beyond you. The power to transform our world through communication is in your hands. Will you accept the challenge? Will you be the leader who changes the conversation? The choice is yours, and the time is now. Let's create a future of connection, understanding, and positive change, one intentional conversation at a time. Thank you.